Hey everyone, welcome to the Playback Podcast presented by CAR, your weekly podcast featuring America's favorite dancers, hosted by America's favorite road warriors. We are your hosts, Julie and Kristen, and we have the lovely Pinkysparkles with us today.
Hi guys.
When did you officially change your name back to Madeline Underwood from Pinkysparkles?
Yeah.
I think I officially changed it on my 18th birthday, actually. Yeah, it was like I'm 18. It's time. I can't be Pinky anymore. Yeah, I just felt like I didn't want to see it go, but at the same time, I was like, so forever I'm gonna be like 30 and everyone's gonna be calling me Pinky. Like, that can't happen. So I was like, yeah, it's time. It's got to change, but it's still in there a little bit, so people don't get confused. Because that was my biggest worry. I was like, no. Who's Madeline?
No
one's gonna know that.
Like, does anyone actually know who I truly am?
Yeah,
Wow.
basically. Yeah.
That was
That was deep. Okay, people at home used to call me Pinky all the time, but then when I moved out here, everyone was like, wait, can we just call you Pinky? And I was like, I guess, yeah. And so now all the dance videos in the background, you hear, go Pinky! Like, and Krista's like, what's happening? Pinky? Like, this is Madeline, what?
Oh,
That's
I love
pretty
that.
good.
Do you still get Madeline?
Oh my gosh, I get Madeline all the time.
Okay.
Like, crazy. And I feel like I'm at the point where I can't even tell people. Like, I'm just like, all right, you can just call me Madeline. Unless it's somebody that I, like, need them to know that my name is Madeline. But, you know.
Same.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
I get Julia, and I'm like, sure, close enough.
Close enough.
Julia, yeah.
We have so many like Kirsty, Kristen,
Mm-hmm.
Christies at work, so they just call me by my last name.
Oh my
So I'm forever Nurka.
Oh my God, I love that.
So if I was Pinkysparkles, I feel like they would just call me Pinky for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's easier, I think.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So if you can't tell, I'm super excited about today's guest. First off, when you said that you can do it, I have to admit I was a little bit shocked because you've been so busy for the last however long. You're what they call in the dance world, booked and blessed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Booked and
I'm
blessed. That's
thank
impressive.
you.
Yeah. Stays booked and blessed.
Wow.
But so to me, you're the OG car influencer, OG car protege, OG car social media personality, everything. What was the process going from being a dancer living in North Carolina to becoming, Pinky, Madeline Underwood, living in Southern California, dancing at the Space, super busy, living her best life?
That is a handful of a question. There's a lot in there. Yeah, well, I did start with you, Nate, and I don't actually know where I would be without Car, honestly. I think, like, Nate and Car gave me this platform that I would not have had without it at all. So that whole thing, like competing, going to Car was always our favorite. I'm not just saying that because I'm here right now. I'm like being for real. It was. We would always go to their nationals, always their regionals. And I had actually been trying. This is so funny.
It's the best. Worked out.
I know. I'd been trying to get posted on the Instagram. I'm not even going to lie. I think it was right when you started. And you had been posting things on Car, like videos of people, and you were like, comment down below, like someone you want to see. And I'm like, guys, you have to comment. Like,
please comment my name.
Yes, like comment it, please. And this was the year before my solo that kind of set me off burlesque. So I think I did a solo. I think it was to flaunt it. Yeah, it was in green. I had one in green and one in white. And you posted the one in white. And it went like, it was good. It went solid. I got some followers from it, but it wasn't like, it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I had spoken really to anyone at Car at that point. And then he posted burlesque and it went crazy. I don't even know. I'm still shocked to this day when I think about how crazy it was, just because it was like in, I think maybe 24 hours, I'd already gained like, 5,000 followers. Like,
dang.
Like it was like going like that super quick. And I remember in like a week I had already had like 15K or something crazy I couldn't have imagined. And then it just kept progressing from there. And I kept gaining more. Nate and I started to do more stuff together and more stuff with Car. And it was so exciting for me because I'd never done anything like that. Like I was from High Point, North Carolina, just dancing,
Yeah.
And then I was getting to do all these fun things like with car or like Instagram, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the life. You know what I mean?
One moment that showed me like how committed you were was when I was in North Carolina. Your mom was driving us around to shoot content. We were looking for different cool places to make dance videos. And you said, oh, we also can go by my studio. And I was like, how could we go by your studio? It's Sunday. And you guys have classes on Sunday? And you said, oh, no, but I have a key.
Yeah.
Casual.
Oh my God. I did have a key to my studio. I could go
love that.
whenever I wanted.
Oh, that's
It was
so nice.
What do you say to the parents or to the dancers that think, hey, it's not fair that Madeline got extra attention, who think, hey, everyone should get a turn, everyone should get a chance? Because one thing that I did learn from following you and kind of like watching you grow was that you were absolutely obsessed with
Right.
just dancing. You only did that.
Yeah,
Like-
100%. I understand both sides of that argument, but I also think that if you are willing to like work hard,
You should be rewarded.
yeah, you'll be rewarded.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of one of those things you have to put your mindset in. If you don't care that much, that's fine. You don't have to, but then you can't be like upset about not getting something, or you know, you have to put the work in for that.
So back in high school, your sophomore year, when you were absolutely killing the game, what would your dance regimen be?
Okay, to
With
be
school, because you went to public school.
Yeah, I did go to public school, and to be completely honest, I did not have like this strenuous dance schedule at all. Like actually, it was pretty laid back and chill, which at the time I had wished there was more, but now I feel kind of grateful for. I would wake up in the morning, I would go to school, and then I think I would go to the studio maybe from 5 to 8. Not long at all.
Yeah.
We would do some across the floor like technique, work on our dances maybe, and then I would go to sleep. I'd do it all over again Monday through Thursday. And I don't know, I think at the time I really wanted something that was like super crazy, but to think about how burnt out I would be if I had that is weird. It's something I've actually just now am coming across, because I feel like I'm doing a lot now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, imagine if I had been doing this since I was, I don't know, 15. Oh, I would hate it.
Yeah.
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 But I think that also comes with like the kind of person you are. Some people can do that, and I don't think I'm like that. So
That's okay.
I think burnout is super real in general, though. Like anyone, even if you love dance, like you're gonna hit burnout at some point. Especially those kids that dance crazy amounts until 11 p.m. in the studio and then have to go to school and then do it all over again. Like, yeah, you're gonna hit burnout at some point. So I think it is great that you train just enough, and you're still at the studio 4 days a week. That's still a lot. If
Right.
you add up all those hours, that's
Yeah.
still a long time.
I would try and do extra things too, like on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
But it was kind of up to me, which was nice. So if I didn't want to do it that week, I didn't have to do it that week. Now, I think most of the time I did want to do it. But it was not like I was forced to do this amount.
Have to be there, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I would have been burnt out
Yeah.
by now if I, and like some of
Yeah.
these kids dance, I mean, when
All
they're
day.
little
All
too,
day,
like
yeah.
all day, every day.
I'm like, how
Yeah.
do you do that?
Yeah.
and then they're at comp.
Yeah. I'm like, how in the world do you do that? I would not have been able to, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have like a normal high school experience? Like, did you go to football games and all that stuff? Like,
I
talk about that.
did. I did. Nate knows about cookout. I did. I'm so happy about too. I did have a pretty normal high school experience. I went to an art school, so we didn't have
fun.
Okay.
sports or
Yeah.
anything.
Oh.
But my dance friends went to normal high school, so I would go to their games sometimes. We would hang out, do fun things on the weekends that I wasn't gone. And it was so much fun. We would go to Cookout. There's this restaurant I think it's just in the South.
yeah.
Called Cookout, and we would
It's
hang
really
out there.
bomb.
It's so bomb.
So good.
But imagine, okay, a group of people, we got our cookout. We're sitting outside in the bed of somebody's truck, just talking
That's fine.
till like midnight.
that.
My mom's like, "What do you do at Cookout for hours?" I'm like, "We just hang out." Like, she never understood it, but that was like a thing. It was like everybody would go to Cookout. Everyone in
Thing.
High Point, yeah. It's like super cheap. It's great. If you haven't tried it, you definitely should. It's so
Pretty
good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. But a lot of people too, I've realized when I moved out here, are young in the program I'm in, and they don't have high school experiences, and a lot of them are like missing
It's
that.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have any high school experience.
Really?
I've never been to a dance. I've never been to a football game.
Wait,
Mm-mm.
That's why you're weird.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't know
I was
this.
homeschooled. I was one of those kids that would get dropped off at dance at 11 a.m. and I would leave at like 11 p.m. But I did it at Millennium instead of like a home
Wow.
studio.
Right.
I mean,
That's kind of fun.
It was
a
great.
lot.
No,
Yeah, I love it. I was gonna
I,
say,
I
what?
loved it. I wouldn't change it. But
Yeah.
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 And I went through burnout like every couple months. I would have to take
do.
a whole week off. I'd be like, I can't do this.
Right.
I hate dance right now. I can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, absolutely.
It happens.
In high school, did your social media popularity, did it translate over to real life popularity?
She's like, yes.
I guess a little bit. My high school experience is not like the stuff you see in the movies where there's like, oh, there's this popular crew, there's the sport. Like, it wasn't anything like that. But for sure, everybody in my area did know me because of my Instagram. And a lot of the time, it would be, they thought it was funny. But not in like a mean way.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
they weren't like making fun of
Good.
me, but they would be like, what are you going to post? Can I be
no.
on your Instagram? Like, no, you can't be on my Instagram. I'm sorry.
Especially because you asked.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. But it didn't translate over really in a bad way or a good way. I would say everything still pretty much stayed the same, except for when I would go to like competitions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when things were kind of got real for me a little bit, in where when people would ask me for a picture, I would still be like, what? Oh, you want to take a picture? Like, sure, I guess. But that was like new to me. So I was like, why do you want to take a picture? I
You're
can
like, wait a
promise you
second.
I'm nothing special. Like, come on. You know what I mean? That kind of situation. Yeah.
We'll take it to like finals the year that was the first time we met. This was the actual first day in my life when I was like, I do like dance. Like, dance is cool, because I never actually consumed the dance. Like, I never watched it. I would film stuff, but I never like actually,
Right.
But I remembered watching, and then when you would jump and land, there would be like no sound compared to boom, when other people jumped. And I was like, this is actually really cool to see, because you were like very strong and powerful, but then when you would land, it would be like nothing. I'm like, and then there was no transitions where like it would just move into the next thing, where that's not how children's dance.
Like a little fumbly sometimes in between.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I make a video, like edit a video to post, it was very clear. You cut it right here because they're like transitioning to go into the next part of the dance, where Madeline was very like, where do I cut this? Because it's like, there's no pause. Burlesque was the last dance of the night in finals. And I remember all the people in the crowd were like, hey, like Madeline's going on in 30 minutes or an hour. Like, everyone came down from their rooms, and I had never seen this at any finals.
Me neither. I vividly remember it. I was actually thinking about this feeling the other day, weirdly enough. It was crazy. I had the best time. That was probably my favorite nationals. I had the best time with my friends. We were filming so much fun stuff. Like, I also think I danced my best too. Weirdly enough, because I feel like it was a lot of pressure, but I think I do better under pressure, so it made me dance better. But I remember after, I think it was my title night dance, when I came out, like when they announced my name, hearing everybody cheer, it was like, I mean, it was a crazy, crazy feeling. And I remember just standing there like, what is happening? Like, all these people came just to see my solo? Like, what? It was insane. And I had a moment like that actually the other day in class, and I called my mom and I said, Mom, like, you have to listen to this. The craziest thing just happened. Do you remember at Car Nationals when everyone was cheering and it was crazy, like so loud, like it felt like the whole room was filled with people cheering? She was like, yeah. And I was like, I just had another moment like that. Isn't that so weird? But it's just weird that you bring that up, because I was just thinking about it. That's 3 days ago. Yeah.
And you're saying they were cheering like when they announced you to go to dance?
Yes. I think it might have been before and after, but it was the before that was like,
and so am I, and here
I don't even know how to explain it. It was like a surreal feeling though, for sure.
You still were thinking like, what place am I going to get?
Oh yeah. Every time I would never felt secure in what I was gonna place. I mean, I'd be like, okay, I danced my best, but like, you never know.
You just
what's
never
gonna
know what they're gonna
happen.
like
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So I never was somebody that could go into awards being like,
Got
I'm
it in the
gonna
bag.
win. Yeah, like got this. And so I'm still sitting there, like, kind of freaking out a little bit. I actually would freak out a lot at awards, not in a bad way, but when I get nervous, I go into this, like, weird mood. And I just, like, run around, and I'm like, what's happening? And I remember sitting on the sides, and I'm, like, waiting. And then it gets down to the last place, and I was like, okay, I think it's me. Like, and it was, and I was like, I was so excited. It was really exciting, especially just the way to end the year of, like, it felt like I had grown so much in such a like short amount of time, and then for that to have happened at the end of the year was like just topped it right off. You know what I mean?
All your hard work completely paid off in that moment.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
That feeling
From
is
your whole
different.
life.
Love that.
Yeah, from my whole life. Yeah, for sure.
That time was the absolute best.
It was the best. I actually do think about it often.
Yeah. God, you and I, we used to strategize together, like how we could make Dance Car grow, but then also your page grow at the same time. When I started, I think we had 50 and you had what, 5?
Yeah, maybe 5.
Yeah. And then we were like, how could we get each other big? And we used to do it. Remember we did our half and half posts for a while? It's like first half of the dance on cars,
so
second
smart.
half. Yeah.
That is
So smart.
That's
at that
pretty
time,
good.
It was like an Instagram's heyday where you can pick up like 3,000 followers a day.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
If you did the right content, and we would just like strategize, or you want to go first half, second half, like, all right, we'll start it right here, then this will time it to where your video will start on this move.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a video and you were like, okay, this is the second half. I'm going to post the first half and then you're going to post the second. And yeah,
and
boom.
you tell them to see the first half, go to
Yeah.
Car, and then I'll tell them for the second half, go to Madeline.
That's
or
so
Pinkysparkles,
smart.
and we used
Yeah.
to do that all the time. Yeah, so anytime there was like a new dance, it was so good. And then even that group dance, white costumes,
Yes.
their stairs.
Yes. And oh my goodness, this was the first year we won the showcase.
Ooh.
That had never happened before. We'd been wanting it for so long. We really had. I think a couple years before our younger team had won it, and we were like, oh my gosh, like younger kids got it. Like we just want to get it. And I don't know why I did have a feeling that was going to be the year. I mean, everything was going so great, right? And then we're standing there, and we literally, I think, almost knocked down the trophy in the video because we're like,
So
oh my God,
excited.
like
Yeah.
screaming, running. Yeah, that was a great dance.
Yeah.
It really was.
But what I wanted to bring up was one of the strategies that we kind of agreed to was, hey, I was like, hey, you have to reply to everybody, right? Because we want the community to feel attached to you. And you did it. Like in the beginning, it'd be 10, it'd be like 10 comments, but then it got to a point where you would have to spend like the whole day.
Yes, answering, and I still do it actually.
I know,
I
and
still
that's
do
why
it.
that's why I'm laughing so hard, because like you still do it.
Yep.
But that one thing, like everyone felt like they knew you when you would go somewhere,
Right.
because you reply to people, and you would, and then everyone would comment because they're like, oh, she always replies, and it was very like sincere, and it was you doing it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I remember you'd be like all day trying to reply.
Reply to the comments, yes, and I still do it now. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post this video, and then I'm like, okay, well, can I do it at a time where I can answer people? Because sometimes I'll post something and then I have to go do something, and I'm
Yeah.
like, shoot, I can't answer people. And you do see a difference in also like your Instagram when you don't reply to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Less people are gonna comment because they're like, oh, she's not gonna answer them.
Yeah, these comments are just going to
Yeah,
no one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the biggest things I think I learned from you. When you told me that, I was like, what? Why do I have to answer? No one does that. Like,
Yeah.
and then I was like, boom, it all made sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you definitely set the standard for that, because now like people like Annie and Berlin and dancers like that, they'll always respond to the comments like right away,
I love
like with such a genuine feel, and it makes the dancers feel like they know them,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's great.
Because it's like, oh, she's seeing my comment. Like,
yeah.
she took the time, she read it, she's going to answer to it. Like,
yeah.
I think commenting, being someone to comment on someone's post, that is a nice like feeling to get back for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you told us you moved out to LA senior year. Can you tell us about that transition? I know that's a lot for parents? Did your parents come with you? I know sometimes like mom comes, dad stays. What was that whole situation like?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy in general because the year before I moved, or kind of the year in general, was COVID year.
Oh.
Yeah. So everything started going downhill then, as we know. It was just not great. And I remember seeing this program on Instagram with Autumn Miller, Krista Miller, the Millers, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is something I would maybe want to do. And then I was like, oh, but I have to move to California. Like, that's kind of a lot. I started talking about it with my mom, and she was for it. She's very supportive. Aww. Love that. She's a big dance mom. So she was for it. I was nervous about telling my dad because he's very, like, traditional, I would say, more about things, like go to school,
I feel that. My dad was the same way.
Yeah, it's like, so I was like, I knew he would support me, but I knew it would probably be a little bit weird. So I began talking to her about it, and she didn't want me to live on my own. That was her one thing. She was like, I would love if you could get a host family, something like that, you know? So she starts talking to Krista about everything, and of course, there are no people that are doing host families, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, great, I'm not moving this year. Looks like I'm stuck, like, and then I started talking to a girl that was very responsible, older than me, and my mom was like, okay, like, I would let you live with her and, like, 2 other girls. That would be great. I would totally let you do that. So I'm like, great, we're making progress. Like, this is happening. And my dad kind of just jumped on board with it. He was fine with it. Schooling worked out perfectly, basically, because it was COVID. Everything was online anyways. Yeah. So I didn't have to worry about my school. I was taking, I think, some outside classes, too, that were online. So when I decided to move, my mom came with me to move me in, but then my parents stayed back in North Carolina, which I thought I would be really homesick at first because I never did well with, like, anything that was, like, a going away camp or, like, stuff like that. My first year, though, oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God, pictures
fine.
of lattes. And
Thriving.
I probably did do that. That's the worst part.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh. And it was fine. I didn't miss, in the best way possible. I didn't miss them at all. Like, I was doing fine.
That's good.
It's weird though. This year, totally opposite. I'm like, oh, I want to go home. Like, I miss home. But it was a smooth transition. It was a little scary at first because I was going into a new place where I didn't know literally anyone. But what had made it easier about moving was that all my friends were a year above me in school, so they were going to college. So I wasn't really leaving anything behind other than, like, you know, my last year of competition. But I just kind of have felt, I was like, you know what, it's time. I can still compete on the weekends if I want to. But I want to see where this can take me, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
Wow.
So you started at Space.
I did. I started training at the Brea space, which I absolutely love. Like, I don't know what it is about that space specifically, but the energy there is almost unmatched. I've started taking classes in LA a little bit, and I also love doing that, but there's something so welcoming about that space. Like, I feel comfortable. And I feel like I can really give it my all because I think that's something I used to struggle with. I'm not a very assertive person, and I think I've learned to become a little more assertive over the years, especially out here. So when I came in, that's what was kind of scary. You do have to put yourself out there. Like, if you want to get anything back, like in class, you got to go for it. But I was always a little bit timid. But for some reason, when I moved, I was like, you know what? No. There's no more of that. Like, if you want it, you have to go and you have to get it. Yeah, and so I decided to do that. And I think since the moment I moved here and I started doing that, that's when things really picked up for me. I don't think I would have half the connections that I do without going to the space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
I feel
amazing.
like now that, Edge is gone.
Right.
So I don't know if you were out here. No, Edge closed during COVID. That was like the big technique hub. And now that that's gone, like Millennium has like a few technique classes in the morning. I know they have ballet, but like it's more of a mainly like hip hop space, you know? Like so I feel like Brea space is like a great technical like hub now, you know? Like a lot I've seen so many like drop-in classes with like really big technical people, and I feel like there's not really a place in LA for that too much anymore. Yeah. So I feel like that's also an awesome thing too, you know, it kind of transitioned to that being like the big place.
Yes, yeah. It keeps me keeps me trained. That was another thing. My mom
Yes.
didn't want me to just move out here without like a plan.
And losing all
some
your
sort.
technique too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think to some degree, a lot of jobs you won't need you won't need to do like 7 turns.
Yeah,
Right,
you're not
right.
doing a full Alice Cone combo
Right.
for a commercial.
Right. Exactly. But there are some instances where I think it still is beneficial and it helps with all the other things. So losing it completely would be hard. And that's me as a dancer. Like when I market myself to people, I'm marketing myself as that specific person. So if I were to lose it, I wouldn't be me anymore.
Yeah.
if that
I think
makes
there's also so many other avenues, like for you, like teaching a convention. Like you can't lose your technique if you're going to teach at a studio or at convention or go choreograph pieces in other states. You know, you can't lose that.
Right.
That's a huge market for you, you know, and even
Yes.
Instagram too. Like that's where a lot of your stuff is going to come from as well. So if you just suddenly stopped posting all those videos, you know, that's, like you said, losing kind of the essence of your fan base and like kind of what you're about, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. So I'm so grateful to have a place like that because a lot of people do move here and they just take class, which I also think is great. But we are given like a schedule each week and it has different people.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So like we don't have to, I'm not held accountable to be like, okay, you need to go to Millennium to take this class or 88 to take this class. I have a place that already does that. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll go take my classes today. Like, let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's super nice. Yeah.
That's super great. I think that's also you transitioning from a competition studio where your schedule is made for you
Right.
to then coming out to LA and you have no schedule. That can be really hard to keep up your training. So to be going to a place where they tell you like, okay, this is your schedule. And you're like, okay, that's easy. Yeah. Like you said, so much easier than having to try and find classes for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And it pushes me to do things like I wouldn't do. I didn't grow up doing a lot of hip hop. So when I came out here, that was the thing for me. And I know if I was on my own, I would not be like, oh let me go take a hip hop class right now.
You wouldn't put yourself in that class.
I would never put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
But I have to. And I've grown so much. And I feel like if I did have a hip hop audition next week, I would feel comfortable going into that room and putting myself out there. Whereas before there's no way.
Yeah.
There's literally no way.
I feel like also when you cross train in styles, like your most comfortable style grows too. You know, like you learn that hip hop movement and then your contemporary movement gets a little different and you can kind of incorporate it and mix it and then your style vocabulary gets so much bigger. So I feel like, and even you guys do like ballroom and stuff too, right? Like that helps everything. Like I feel like it's so important to cross train, especially when you're out here. Yeah. So that's so awesome that it offers not just technical, but also other styles.
All the other things.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's given me so many connections of people. I think nowadays dance is really about who you know.
Connections.
It really
connections.
is.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
for it to be a place where it's so intimate, there are only like 40 of us, 50 of us maybe. And to have these teachers that are working, choreographing, doing all the things, getting to know us personally, coming in often enough to get to know us, is a great thing because you aren't having to go find their classes in LA and take them and to get to know them. Like they're coming to you. Right. So it's your job to put your best foot forward and like make that connection, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And their classes in LA are going to have 100+ people
exactly.
in them, you know? So it's going to be very different.
You're like hiding in the back like,
hello,
please.
Yeah.
Watch me. Like, literally.
Yeah. Wow.
As a dancer in LA and you've been auditioning and whatnot, has there been a job that has stood out to you as a dancer that has been maybe one of your favorites?
Well, I am pretty new to the game, so I'm still like working towards those ones I really want to do. But the first job I ever booked, so craziness. So I'm sitting at the airport at LAX. I'm going to compete at a convention on the weekend. And from my agent, I get this email, and it's like, oh, send in your self-tape for a role on This Is Us as a ballerina.
Oh, my gosh.
You need pointe shoes. Wow. I'm, like, sitting at the airport. Like,
you're like, well,
it's due tomorrow at 5. I'm like, great. This is great. So I take a red eye. It's Thursday night, and I'm competing Friday. And my plan was to sleep in the day, do my solo, and sleep some more.
Yeah.
I get there. I'm telling my mom about this audition. She's like, you have to do it. And I'm like, I don't have pointe shoes. Like, I can't, like, I just want to sleep. Like, I'm in a bad mood. Like, I don't want to do this right now. And she's like, no, I have a feeling. Like, you have to. So we find this little tiny dancewear shop. I buy pointe shoes. and like
Moms always
tights
know.
and leotards. They do. It's weird.
She's the one who told you, like, she's always gives you good advice.
I know. And at the time, I'm like, ugh, so annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's like, I know that she was always
You're like,
right.
"Thanks, Mom."
Yeah.
Moms, they know.
So I film it in like this hotel lobby. We get kicked out of multiple places.
Of course.
And I'm doing this
Love that.
awful like ballet variation. Like I'm not a ballerina. I
It's
have
okay.
technique, but I'm not a ballerina. Okay.
What do they call it? Like a jazz arena?
Yeah, I'm literally like a jazzerina. Literally. So I film it and I send it in and I'm like, I mean, nothing's gonna come of this.
Yeah,
That
we'll
was probably
see.
the worst self-tape I've ever sent in. And I think spring break was after that. So I'm home and I get an email in there asking about my availability. And I'm like, oh, this is good, but like don't get too excited. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything. You know.
Yeah.
Sadly it doesn't. And then I booked it and I'm like, how did I book that job? Like my first job on like it was SAG, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whole situation, and it was super chill too, which I was really grateful for. We went in for like one day of like rehearsal. Shoot was like one day long, but not
Nice.
too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a super cool experience, especially because I had no expectations of booking it. I was like, oh, this would have been great if I was in a studio.
Yeah.
But like I'm in this hotel about to do my solo on stage, like freaking out. And I was like, okay, that made it worth it. My mom was right. I've found that out so many times. I will tell you that. Your mom is always right.
Their intuition, it just is so loud.
It is. It's crazy. But I would say that probably stuck out to me the most because I didn't want to do it.
It was so unexpected,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, I was like not into it. And then boom.
It happened.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Congrats. That's awesome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What did that do for your confidence?
It was great because I think coming out here, not that I lacked confidence, but I think that was about halfway through, like when I had just moved, like my first year. So I was not having doubts, but I had applied to colleges in my state. I was like, if it doesn't work out, I can always go back and go to school. So I had applied, I'd gotten into school. Like I was like, okay, maybe I'll defer for a year and then I can see what I want to do. But booking that made me believe that I could do it. Like it was possible for me,
Absolutely.
which is the hardest part because you audition for things and you get told no. And you're like, oh my gosh, am I just not good enough for this? Am I not going to make it here? Which sounds so dramatic, but like those are
It's so
thoughts that have
true.
gone
They're
through my
the
head.
thoughts, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sadly.
It
but
happens to us all. It's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
is this even worth, like, I'm
Right.
working
Yeah.
myself so hard. Is it going to be worth it? Or am
Yeah.
am I being unrealistic? Because I'm a
Mm.
big believer on being realistic with myself. Like,
Yeah.
I know for a fact I'm not going to go on tour with like Chris Brown, right? Like someone else might, but I know I'm
Yeah.
not going to do
Yeah.
that. So I always want to be realistic with myself, but booking that job was like, okay, yeah, I can do it. Like there are things that are going to be meant for me and there are going to be things that aren't meant for me, and that's okay.
Yep.
Like it's like right place, right time
Yeah.
kind of situation. Yeah.
Okay, what's your dream job?
Oh, this is such a hard question for me. Okay, right now I am obsessed with this one choreographer.
Okay.
Her name is Marguerite Derricks.
Oh, she's the best.
Okay.
She's so
Yeah.
good.
The best.
She works on Maisel a lot.
Mhm.
And I don't know necessarily if I have a one dream job, but I want to work with her. Like that is
Oh,
my dream.
choreographer.
Yes,
Okay.
I would
feel
say that
like
more.
Once
That's
you're
awesome.
in with her, she keeps you in your
In her
pool.
circle, yes.
That she just picks
Yes,
from
yes.
every time.
Yes, I've been like, you got to do the whole thing. You got to go to
Yeah.
all her classes and all
Mhm.
that stuff. So I've been doing that. I did that last summer. I did it this summer, and
Good.
it's finally paying off actually.
Nice.
So I feel like I'm getting a little closer. But yeah, I don't know if I have a dream job, but she is my dream person to work with.
Nice,
For
love
sure.
that.
Yeah.
She's great. And she rarely teaches in LA too, so it's such a great opportunity to get in with her
Yes.
through the space.
Every time I see somewhere posted, Marguerite Derricks is teaching, I'm like, oh, sign up.
Here I
I'm
go.
going. Hopefully I don't have anything to do that day. Because
I'm
now I
going.
do.
It's canceled.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned that you decided to be more assertive when you moved out here to California. Now, with younger dancers, that seems to be like one of the same things that a lot of them are lacking is assertiveness. Now, you were always assertive like compared to peers. I know that. But when you came to LA, like I know that it's a whole different ballgame out here. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you mean when you say that?
I think being assertive is not being like arrogant or too like prideful of yourself, but it's believing in the ability that you have and what you have to offer. That's something I've just learned just now. Love that.
It's okay.
But I go into auditions and I'm not nervous because I'm like, I know what I have to offer and it's either right or it's not right. So that's my version of being assertive. It's not like shoving myself in someone's face being like, look at me, watch me. Like, it's putting myself out there. So standing in the front, yeah. But it's giving my 100%. And most of the time when you are out there putting your 100% into something, you will get what you're wanting back from it. But I think it's not being afraid to do that. That's the scary thing. It's scary to show somebody who you actually are, because some people might not like it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is so different. So I think that's probably what my version is, I would say. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I feel like it's so hard when you like, even like I lived out here growing up, but even just going into that new space of like an audition or a class at Millennium or anywhere in LA, like it's so hard to like put yourself in front and put yourself in, like, I feel like also not even just being in front, but like taking up the space and like filling it, you know, like it's a lot to like put yourself out there and perform in class, you know, but like you have to like be assertive and like let yourself do that. It's like you said, like be seen, and when people see you giving 100% and see you having fun, it's so much more drawing and they're so much more intrigued by your dancing, I feel like. But it's really hard to do. Yeah,
hard. It's funny you say like filling the space is something choreographers always would say. Like, when you walk out on the floor, a choreographer can tell if you know what you're doing or if you don't by the way you walk out. And I would know what I was doing, but I would walk out like a little, you know, eyes
or like
down,
you shuffle
like,
around. Like, if someone's coming, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna
you
move
can
over.
Like you can take that spot. That's fine.
Like it's okay. I'll go over here.
I'll just fade in the back.
But it's like going out and like taking your
Taking
space. Is that's, I think, will show a lot too. Because if a choreographer sees you like shuffling out, they're gonna be like, well, I don't want to watch them. They don't know what.
Well, and they're not confident in it. So like, why am I going to be confident in them if they're not confident in it?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to hire you. I don't trust you. You know?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is the biggest thing. Taking your space.
Yeah.
Which I used to suck at. But now I can do it. So we're all good here.
I feel like all that stuff is a skill. Just like dancing, you have to train your brain. You have to train yourself to kind of have that self-talk of like, you're going to go for it. You have it. Just do it. You know, like it's a whole other kind of skill aspect of not just the dancing, but all the other side of it too. It's a whole thing you have to train as well.
100%.
Absolutely.
Can you kind of talk to us about your, because everyone knows Krista Miller as like the technique person in the world. So like, how's that relationship? How has it like kind of blossomed, and from when you started till now, like what does that look like?
Yeah. I love the Millers so much. From the outside, you can obviously tell that they're good people, but when you really get to know them, you're like, yeah, they're great people. They always want to help everybody that's involved at the space, which I think is a hard thing to find sometimes. You have people that are going to run a program that are just doing it because they're running a program, but they like care about every single person. So I started doing privates with Krista over COVID, and I loved it. Like I don't know, it's the way she teaches it. There's something about it, and she is a great teacher, and she makes you feel so confident and motivated to like be better, do better. So I started doing privates with her, and then I came to the space. You know, we have our class every week, sometimes twice a week, and they have this platform called the Space TV where they teach online dance classes, and a lot of the times they'll ask kids from launch to assist those classes. So I think the first one I did was with her. So she was like, will you assist me for the Space TV class? And I was like so excited, like, you know, excited to be doing that for the first time. And she's really just become a helpful figure in my life, like almost like my mom. That's, you know,
I love that.
My mom, that's not my actual mom, but she's really helpful and gives me so much advice on things in the industry. She's actually the one that put that first job I booked into my agent's hands for me.
Oh, wow.
We love a good agent.
We do.
Yeah.
Thank you for receiving that from Krista. Great job.
That's so funny, Nate. But as our relationship grew, you know, I became more comfortable asking her things, advice, like, what do you think I should do about this? Do you think this is a good idea for my career? Or she would send me things and be like, oh, this is good. Like, you should go take this class. You should get to know this person. Or she'll talk to the choreographers about us. So she'll be like, oh, did you see Madeline in class? What did you think?
Yeah.
And they give us direct feedback on like what we can do better or what they think we should do better. And I don't know. I think as my relationship has grown with her, I've started to kind of figure out my life in the industry too, because she's been such a huge part of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gosh, the
And
value
she's
in
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was big in the industry too, when she was growing up, getting into the dance world and industry.
Yes.
I remember her telling a few stories back in the day. So I feel like it's so helpful for those kinds of teachers and choreographers and mentors to pass on that knowledge.
It 100% is. There have been jobs that people have asked me to do, and I will feel unsure about them. So I think in the past I would have just said yes, and it maybe wouldn't have been worth my time in the best way possible, not in like a bad way. But I'll be like, what do you think about this? And she'll honestly tell me. She'll be like, like, you don't need to do that. Like, no, leave it where it is. And I'm like, okay, great. Like,
Okay, I trust you.
Yeah, because she has done it all and she knows so many people. I think people don't even realize, like, they're like, oh, she just, like, she teaches technique. And I'm like, no, she's
done a lot.
Yeah, she's done so much. And she knows so many people. So, like, watch her back. You know what I mean?
Watch what you say, you guys.
Yeah.
What would you say to the dancers and or parents that they say it's tough to consistently create content? They might say things like, we want our dancer to have a great social media presence. I know the space, they created a great way for anybody who's a member or in the program to get consistent content, and that like in itself is an absolutely genius idea. But I do see you're making content even when it's inconvenient for you. I see you down in the gym at your building. So what advice do you have for the dancers and or parents that actually want to really go for it?
Well, you do have to go for it full force. Let me tell you, I think it's important to find your like little niche, like your thing. So my thing is turns. So when I don't have content to post and I'm like, okay, it's been 3 days, 4 days, it's time. I need to post something or else everything is just gonna go right down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna film a turn video. It'll take me 5 minutes. But it also has to be good. Like there's the difference between just posting things to post things and posting things of actual like substance.
Absolutely.
So I feel like finding what you're best at or what you're good at, what people want to see you do is the first thing. I feel like building a presence without that is really hard because it's like, why are people going to want to follow you? Why do people want to watch your videos? So once you find that, it's staying committed and having, I think really you're supposed to post every day. I don't know if that's actually a thing. Nate, you probably know better than me.
No, you're equal to everything. Now we're just brainstorming it.
I know a lot of people say it's better to post every day, especially when you're trying to build something. But I think people get it confused with posting things that aren't good. Yeah, you just have to be committed to making those videos. Like you said, I do go down to my gym and I have like the tiniest yoga studio and it has the bikes in it.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
The rolling bikes. And I'm like, okay, gotta go push the bike out.
Yep.
And there are people in the gym and they're like staring at me.
Okay, I'm always wondering about that, if there's people in there when you're doing it.
Yes.
So there is.
Sometimes it's like weird. Like they'll be like bench pressing, doing something. I don't know. And I like just look out of the corner of my eye. Yeah. I look out of the corner of my eye and they're like staring and I'm like, what are you looking at? I'm just filming a turn video. Okay.
Just turns, okay.
Like, leave me be.
Yes.
Yeah. So it gets weird, but again, you can't be scared of that because it's like, I'm never going to see them again. I mean, maybe I will at the gym doing the same exact thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Like, oh, there's that girl again.
Yep. There's that girl that does the weird turns.
Okay, one of the last things I want to ask you is, I feel like we used to talk about, you used to have a little bit of hang up on the idea of turning videos being redundant. I always felt that no matter how many times you uploaded turning videos, people would never get sick of seeing them. Just like nobody was ever going to get sick of seeing Coco be bendy. Because the average person can't do it, that's what makes it interesting, and that's why it will always be interesting. What advice do you have for a dancer that feels like, I can't upload this again because people already saw it, or if I upload this again, it's like I'm uploading the same thing over and over, and sometimes they don't even want to do the same type of thing twice. Tell me about that, and what have been some of your challenges around overcoming that?
I still sometimes feel like that when I will post a lot of turn videos in a row. I think it's a little different than before I moved here because I didn't take these combo classes where I had videos to post from that. So all of the posts I were making were turns, like literally all of them are like my solos from comp, which were turns. So like it's all turns. So until I moved, I had nothing to break that a little bit. But I still recently have felt like that because I haven't had class videos to post. I'm like, okay, I could post another turn video, but are people they're not going to care. They've seen it before. But I think I go through phases, I've realized. Like when I look back, I'll be like, okay, I used to do that turn a lot during that period of time. People really liked it. I'd stop doing it for a while. I would have this new turn combo that I would do for a while, and I would keep switching it off. And then I'm like, oh, what if I go back and I try that again? But I add something after it, and then it's like a whole new thing. So I'm like, yeah, people like it because they've seen it before, but now there's something else in there too.
A little
if that
twist.
makes sense. Yeah, like a little surprise.
Like, woo.
Yeah.
People are going crazy for your turn into,
The front aerial.
yeah.
I was like, think of the name,
that
mate.
was the
What's the
thing.
name?
That
Yeah.
was the thing.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
That is when I do a lot, actually. Except
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, gosh, I got to do something. Like, there's got to be something crazy before it because I've
Yeah.
done it so many times now.
Like, let's see what we can tweak
Yeah.
to like make this a little different to
Yeah.
keep people watching.
100%. Sometimes
they
I just
love it.
throw myself. I'm like, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, we'll
You
see.
know, you never know.
I'm gonna land on my right foot this time.
Yeah.
instead of my left.
Yeah. See if that's better. Yeah.
I never sent that thing to your mom, obviously, because I still have it.
I forgot about that.
He might have set it up.
Pulls it out. You had to build that, didn't you?
He built
It's not
it.
just sitting there. He had to build it.
He had to
Oh
build
my
it.
gosh, you didn't.
Okay, so you'll notice behind Julie, there's actually 2 Madelines now.
Two of them.
Years ago, I would never say, hey, you know what we should do, guys? We should put Madeline on a banner. And just, because it just wouldn't, because you were always competing, so you couldn't really go on any banners. But the second that you were done,
Boom.
Put her on one.
Banner.
Banner.
No, so then they put you on the banner, and I saw it, and then I remember when we talked about starting a protege program, you were kind of like already too far along in your journey, but I just messaged you. I was like, hey, let me just brainstorm.
Yeah.
Could we do this? Because I felt like it wouldn't make sense to have a program if Madeline wasn't part of it, because she was always like the actual kid that she's exactly what the program ideally would create.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to use it again. If that's
Yay.
okay. Like, you don't mind, right?
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind at all.
Yeah. I put the sign there. Obviously, convention starts.
In 1 month.
Let's see the
In
first
exactly
date so
a
we
month
can
from
actually say.
today.
1 month from today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
September 25th.
Okay.
I just looked at the calendar. Trust me, Nate.
Nice.
Trust me.
So first convention, guys, September 25th in Anaheim. It's going to be really big.
It's
Oh, yeah.
So-
already over 600 registered dancers.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you
gonna sell out,
serious?
guys, so
Yeah.
you better hurry
Holy
up and register.
moly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because especially now with Madeline on the sign,
I
I'm
mean,
guessing registration is going to go
yeah.
down.
Already
Who
sold
wouldn't?
out.
Sold out.
Already. Sold out.
Actually, you know what? Actually, never mind. It's sold out. Madeline, I think that's all we got for you. I call you Madeline. It's so
I
weird because
know.
I called you when it switched is when I switched.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you used to call me Pinkysparkles.
And then as soon as like I started calling you Madeline, everyone started calling you Pinky. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not going with the
Not going
No,
with the
He's
crowd.
not. He's not gonna be a follower.
No.
He's gonna be a
No
leader.
way.
He's like, I started
Madeline.
it.
Good luck to you on everything else that you do.
Thank
We're going to
you.
be following along, and hopefully like we could just have you on all the time.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. This is so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, we'll get updates from you when you get all your new bookings. And you know what? One thing that does annoy me is that you don't go get your verification check mark.
I don't know how to do that.
You already, like,
There's like a
fine.
setting where you can like ask for
You
it.
request it
Yeah.
in Instagram.
Oh,
and-
maybe I'll
'cause-
do it today then.
Okay.
We'll-
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
teach
do it
you
today.
once we're
Yes,
done, yeah.
Because if you've done all these jobs, that's like what they verify,
Right.
and you've done it. So now we're just.
Now it's just time to get the check.
Yeah.
Time to get a check mark.
All right, we'll work on it then.
All right, cool. That's all I got. Cool.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy life to come and join us. I feel like a lot of the dancers watching, they look up to you in so many different ways. So we're excited that they get to watch this episode and get a little bit more of a glimpse into your life. I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really did have the best time. This is
Yeah.
love it.
Make sure you follow her on Instagram. Follow Car Rainbow Ultra. Follow along with our tour with our car convention this fall.
Yeah.
And we will see you all soon.
Yeah, we'll see you in Anaheim.
Woo.